So, we're going through another book, and it is a book about learning. It's gonna be, hopefully, at least I really, really hope it's gonna be an amazing book. Just, I don't know, like, learning is always something good, and just knowing about how to learn and knowing maybe even techniques or just what you really have to take care of when you want to learn something new. I think is always gonna be something amazing, is always gonna be something interesting, and you also might know the author, but we're gonna go and come to that after the intro as always, you know? And I'm having some shit in my mouth. But yeah, anyway. Woo. And with that being said, hello, welcome back to this episode of the Self-Development Mathematics podcast. And I'm really, really incredibly happy to be here and record today. And yeah, I'm also really looking forward to just going through the book per se, but recording the episode as such, also an amazing thing. I really look forward to it. But I am just in need of a sock or something, you know, because I first of all thought like, well, you know, let's just record without any quote-unquote pop filter over the quote-unquote microphone. And I'm not quite sure if this is a good idea or if this would have been a good idea, but I'm just not going to take the risk, I guess. So yeah, anyway, we I think gonna just go straight into the book Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin. You might know Josh Waitzkin. You might also not know Josh Waitzkin. I only know Josh Waitzkin because of Tim Ferriss, because I think it is a relatively good friend. I don't actually know. Like, I'm just assuming, basically. And he's just really good at learning stuff. And he just also seems to be learning something all the fucking time. Like, I think at this point in time it is, and I might just be getting there wrong, but it is called, what is it called, man? Fuck. It's a very specific word. I think it is something like sailing, even though it's not really. It's also not paddling or some shit. It's something very specific. Maybe he's also going to talk about that, but we will see. So, The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin, it got a 7 out of 10 by Derek Sivers, and we are, as you can see once again, on the sivers.org site, just because it is an amazing site and it's just a really good one. You know, I like the way of the summary, because it is not a summary, it's just book notes, which also makes it I think kind of more friendly for the podcast, since there is not a lot of text that I have to read. There is just most often like some points and short paragraphs and stuff, which is always a good thing if you talk about it and stuff, and it gives me a lot of space to as well just add some things. And this time we might actually go through it just only today. It could be the case, it just really depends on how fast I'm gonna be. But I would actually like to kind of just split it in 2 parts or in two episodes, because yeah, you know, I kind of tend to just be really fast then and only read it without actually adding the things that I want to add, which is not really kind of the thing that I want to do. So yeah, anyway, we're gonna start with it, motherfuckers. Chess master becomes Tai Chi master, realizes his real genius is learning, and shares his insights and stories. Yeah, he actually is doing a lot of things, and he also did a lot of things, which I do really want to point out. Like, yes, he was a chess master, and the funny thing is, he was a chess master, and on the very peak, as far as I remember, on the very peak of his career, he said like, no, I'm going to do something different. And I can really understand that, because if you're doing something for really a long time, and if you're already pretty good at it, I think we all do feel like, well, what about doing something new? What about doing something that I haven't been doing before or haven't been done before? What about just doing something new? I'm a fucking noob. And I think that this might also be the thing that he was thinking about. I don't know. I assume. Could be the case. But I don't know. So yeah, anyway, my notes. Entity versus Incremental Theories of Intelligence by Carol Dweck. Entity theorists think I'm smart at this and attribute success or failure to ingrained and unalterable level of ability. Okay. They see it as a fixed entity that cannot evolve. Incremental theorists think I got it because I worked very hard at it, or I should have tried harder. With hard work, difficult material can be grasped step by step. Incrementally, the novice can become the master. When challenged, incremental theories are far more likely to rise to the level of the game, okay? While entity theorists are brittle and quit, okay, because they think, well, anyway. Children who associate success with hard work tend to have a mastery-oriented response to challenging situations. I see. Which is something relatively interesting, I have to say. But I don't know. Like, I would actually kind of prefer like the later one. I would prefer saying, okay, I mean, I'm smart at this, of course, but this doesn't mean that I'm not going to be able to get better at it or just even also get worse. If the subject per se evolves and I just don't evolve with it, then I'm going to fall behind, and I'm also not going to be that good then in the end as well. So I don't know. I think it's not something that's very static. It's not something that's fixed, I believe, I think, but I don't know. The key to pursuing excellence is to embrace an organic, long-term learning process and not live in a shell of static, safe mediocrity. Growth comes at the expense of previous comfort or safety. Like a hermit crab, when you outgrow your shell, you need to be vulnerable while you find a new shell. Yes, indeed. Someone stuck in entity mindset is like an anorexic hermit crab, starving itself so it doesn't grow to have to find a new shell. Well, yeah, kind of. Kind of, yeah, which is, if I'm thinking about it, a really fucked up and dumb, shitty thing, really is. It really motherfucking is, so I don't know. There gotta have to be some level of unsafety, I guess, and some level of, especially also, I think, not being comfortable all the time, I think is also good. Well, I think it's also a good indicator for when you are indeed just doing the thing you should be doing, because if everything is nice and if everything is easy and whatnot all the time, then I don't know. I don't know if you're just moving into the right direction. I don't know if you're doing the right thing that you should be doing, or if you're just doing something that might be satisfying your feelings for a second, or that might just satisfy you just plainly and stuff. So yeah, indeed. Many people take a process-first philosophy and transform it into an excuse for never putting themselves on the line or pretending not to care about results. They claim to be egoless, to care only about learning, but really, this is an excuse to avoid confronting themselves. We're always doing that. Like, I think this is something that we human beings just really are top-notch and king at. Like, it is an insane thing. Short-term goals can be useful developmental tools if they are balanced within a nurturing long-term philosophy. Too much sheltering from results can be stunting. Indeed. I think I'm going to finish up with this one today, since it seems not to be that of a long one, and there's not much to add. Sometimes there is a lot that I can add or want to add as well, but often or sometimes it's also not. We have to take responsibility for ourselves and nurture a healthy, liberated mindset. We need to put ourselves out there, give it our all, and reap the lesson, win or lose. There will be nothing learned from any challenge in which we don't try our hardest. Growth comes at a point of resistance. We learn by pushing ourselves and finding what really lies at the outer reaches of our abilities. Yes, I would say so as well. If we really do something that we haven't been doing before, haven't been done before, there's always going to be learning. I always have to think about just doing something crazy, like, I don't know, jumping off of a cliff, something like that. The first time you're doing it, it's going to be just an amazingly fucking difficult thing to do. But after you've done it 2-3 times and you get the hang of it and you just also tend to really like it, then it's going to be something completely different. You're just going to do it. And so you've just grown. You've grown from, okay, I'm just really anxious and I really don't want to do that, to, well, it's actually not that of a bad thing. And I also want to do that. I think it's an amazing thing. I don't know if this is just a metaphor for just how things can also be. Well, kind of, I would say. The importance of regaining presence and clarity of mind after making a serious error. The first mistake rarely proves disastrous, but the downward spiral of the second, third, and fourth error creates a devastating chain reaction. Yes, it does. If a student of any discipline could avoid ever repeating the same mistake twice, they would skyrocket to the top of their field. Which is, I think, something that's pretty interesting, because people always say, making failures and doing failures and failing, it's not that of a big deal, it's the only way you're gonna grow. But indeed, I have to say, and this is something that I've been talking about, just, I don't know, a year ago as well, is, yes, I do think so. But I just have to say, there has to be just, there has to be a border, there just has to be a truth, At some point, failing is just not a good option, especially if you're just failing all the fucking time, doing the exact same fucking thing. You have to change something if this is the case. There's no fucking way that this is a good thing to do, of course not, and this is, I think, one of the problems that I'm having with quote unquote generalizing a lot of things, just saying, well, failing is really important, but there are so many nuances and there's so many detail to that I gotta have to say, no, No. It's just way too less. It's way too of a. It's not well. How should I say? Formulated assumption. Of course, this is impossible. We are bound to repeat thematic errors, if only because many themes are elusive and difficult to pinpoint. Minimize repetition as much as possible by having an eye for consistent psychological and technical themes of error. Yeah. There's a lot of biases that we all are, I think having, is this the right word, or just we all do? I think it's having, really a lot. It's essential to have a liberating incremental approach that allows for times when you are not in a peak performance state. We must take responsibility for ourselves and not expect the rest of the world to understand what it takes to become the best that we can become. Great ones are willing to get burned again and again while they sharpen their swords in the fire. Yeah, actually coming back to the whole failure thing, but as I said, I don't know. Like it is a difficult thing, and there's too many nuances, I think, to that. Too many as if people would actually kind of go over them and go through them all the time. They talk about that, which is a pity maybe also not. Making smaller circles. Those who succeed have slightly more honed skills than the rest. It's rarely a mysterious technique that drives us to the top, but rather a profound mastery of what may well be a basic skill set. Depth beats breadth. Is this actually a word, breadth? Because it opens the channel for the intangible, unconscious creative components of our hidden potential. And I would say so as well. One of the main reasons why I want to go through this book is because I have to learn maths. I have to learn maths for my A levels. I've just been thinking about it for quite some time. Also, when I was back in school and when I was having my maths exam back in the day, I think probably a month ago or 2 months ago or something like that. And I was thinking about what is the best way I can learn that, because I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm naturally not good at maths. I really don't think so, but I believe since maths is definitely also a language that I am not having all the vocabulary that I have to have, and also the understanding for why this vocabulary is that and why this other vocabulary is what it is, because there's a lot of understanding that I don't have, and I think this is the biggest issue there. And I wanted to find out what I could do and what may be the best way to go for that, because I don't know, I'm not gonna just learn fucking formulas. I don't have to, first of all, and second of all, I don't want to, because if I don't get the hang of it and if I don't know why certain things are what they are and stuff, then it is I don't know, it's nonsensical if it's not the case quite. So yeah. Oh my god. It is loading. I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, it is fine. Intuition is our most valuable compass in the world. It is the bridge between the unconscious and the conscious mind, and it is hugely important to keep in touch with what makes it tick. It's open communication with the wellspring of our creativity. Actually, indeed, even though I think we just demonize our intuition quite often, saying okay, it's only my intuition, there's nothing thought out. But in the end, we actually don't know, because it might actually be the subconscious and or unconscious brain that is telling us something in form of our intuition that is actually really thought out and calculated and stuff. So I don't know. My vision of the roads to mastery. Start with the fundamentals. Yeah, quite important. Get a solid foundation fueled by the understanding of the principles of your discipline. And I do want to point out understanding. If I don't understand shit, then there is also not a lot of things you can do with it. What I'm seeing just now, what I just have to think about, can I please? Thank you. Is if you understand something, then you're also able to just solve problems that you might not be able to solve just because you understand the topic and because you can use the variables and you can use the matrix in a different way, and you can just play with it. You can try out things. But if you don't understand the whole thing, if you don't grasp the whole thing, then there is nothing you can do. You might be able to just use the things that you've learned, and or just memorized. I think it's more precise. But you can't just try out something, because you don't know if maybe it's actually gonna work, but just by accident, which I don't know. I think I gotta have to understand it. But the problem is how? What's the best way to do that? Maybe I'm gonna Google it or some shit. Expand and refine your repertoire guided by your individual predispositions, while keeping in touch, however, abstractly with what you feel to be the essential core of the art. Indeed, what results is a network of deeply internalized, interconnected knowledge that expands from a central personal locus point. Yes, indeed. And I do think if you're just having all the things that he's talking about there, if you're having just the fundamental, if you're having the knowledge, if you're having the understanding and all those things, then it's also going to be exponentially growing. Since if you, I think this is the exact same thing that I'm having with English. I do have a relatively well repertoire of vocabulary, understanding, and the ability to just use their language. And because of this ability, I am, at least at my point of view, I'm exponentially kind of growing what I know, because the more I know, the more I'm able to know, or the more knowledge I'm able to just collect. Or I think collect is not the right word there. But anyway, I think so, yeah. Because the more English I can, the more English I can also look up, and the more things I can read, and just it might or might not be exponential. I do not really think it is exponential. Well, even though, like, if I say the more I do this, the more I get it or that, then it is somewhere indeed exponential. But yeah. Anyway. When everyone at a high level has a huge amount of technical understanding, much of what separates the great from the very good is deep presence and relaxation of the conscious mind, which allows the unconscious to flow unhindered. This is a nuanced and misunderstood state of mind that, when refined, evolves a subtle reintegration of the conscious mind into a free-flowing unconscious process. The idea is to shift the primary role from the conscious to the unconscious without blissing out, losing the precision. Yes, indeed, precision the conscious can provide. Compared to putting your attention to your peripheral vision while reading a book, then putting your attention back on a book without losing the peripheral, which is not gonna work out, is it? Well, in every discipline, the ability to be clear-headed, present, cool under fire is much of what separates the best from the mediocre. If one player is serenely present while the other is being ripped apart by internal issues, the outcome is already clear. The prey is no longer objective, makes compounding mistakes, and the predator moves in for the skill. The issue is even more critical in solitary pursuits such as writing, painting, thinking, or learning. In the absence of continual external reinforcement, we must be our own monitor, and quality of presence is often the best gauge. I think it's called gauge. It's G-A-U-G-E. No, it's G-A-U-G-E. We cannot expect to touch excellence if going through the motions is the norm of our lives. Yeah, quite. Then it's not excellence. It's kind of a mediocrity. If deep, fluid presence becomes second nature, the life, art, and learning take on a richness that will continually surprise and delight. Those who excel are those who maximize each moment's creative potential for those masters of living. Presence to the day-to-day learning processes akin to that purity of focus, other stream of achieving in rare climatic moments when everything is on the line. The secret is that everything is always on the line. If we have any hope of attaining excellence, let alone of showing what we've got under pressure, we have to be prepared by a lifestyle of reinforcement. Presence must be breathing. Which is a cool sentence, but it's a really strong one. Like, if you say something must be breathing, which is like just essential, then practice the ebb and flow of stress and recovery. Instead of working until you are exhausted, push yourself to a healthy limit, then recover for a minute or two and push yourself again. Create a rhythm of intervals. With practice, increase the intensity and duration of your sprint time and gradually condense rest periods. When Garry Kasparov handled his occasional lack of confidence by playing the chess moves that he would have played if he were feeling confident. Wait. I think this is a pretty cool one. When Garry Kasparov handled his occasional lack of confidence by playing the chess moves that he would have played if he were feeling confident, he would pretend to feel confident and hopefully trigger the state. Step by step, Garry would feel off his own chess moves until soon enough the confidence would become real and Garry would be in the flow. And one way of looking at it, Garry was not pretending. He was not being artificial. He was triggering his zone by playing Kasparov chess. I think it's very deeply philosophical, kind of, first of all, and second of all, it's still great, I would say. All of the learning principles discussed in this book spring out of the deep creative plunge into an initially small pool of information. Study positions of reduced complexity. Apply internalized principles to increasingly complex scenarios. And I think this is an important thing. Apply internalized principles to increasingly complex scenarios. Using the exact same shit, but it's always going to be more complex. If I'm just thinking about math, then it's going to be plus minus just divided by and times. It's probably like just and multiplication, subtraction, addition, or whatever it's called. I don't actually know. You're going to use this, which is definitely something that we all have internalized, but we're using it in very complex scenarios. Yeah. Take a single technique or idea and practice it until we feel its essence. Gradually condense the movements while maintaining their power until we are left with an extremely potent and nearly invisible arsenal. Focus on a select group of techniques and internalize them until the mind perceives them in tremendous detail. Yes, indeed. Yeah. I think, yeah, when we actually have internalized something, we indeed have them really well detailed in our mind, whatever it actually might also be about. If we just talk about language and stuff, then I don't know, if I just hear the word courage, I always have to think about Les Brown and a speech of him, because he said that courage is actually a French word, and it's actually his exact words, I guess. Courage is a French word and means from the heart or something like that. And I always have to think about that. And I've internalized that, like, really, and it's fucking detailed. As well as maybe with other things. I don't know, there might be other things. If this is what he's just referring to, could also be something different, of course. Once we have felt the profound refinement of a skill, no matter how small it may be, we can then use that feeling as a beacon of quality as we expand our focus onto more and more material. Once you know what good feels like, you can zero in on it, search it out regardless of the pursuit. Yeah, I gotta have to say, like, there's so many things that kind of remind me on math, actually, and also in language. Even though, of course, we can say that maths is a language and stuff, but let's just keep that out or some shit. Maybe there's actually a book. By the way, I have found that it is it's under Creative Commons, I guess, which is like COO, which means that, we all can use it and we all can distribute it, and I think also sell it or some shit. It is a book called, I don't know, it's something with... I don't remember, but it is a book about mathematics, actually, and explaining a very specific field, the field of integration, derivations, if it is called like this, if I remember correctly. And then we're also having some other shit. And the point is that everything is well explained, and really indeed explained, just why this is this and why this is that and stuff like that. And I might just search for something similar to that, which is also explaining what actually happens when you're, for example, using the square root. What exactly happens if you do that? Like, I know that. I know that it's the reverse of squaring something, which might be the reason why the square root and stuff. But and stuff like that. But also, I think in different fields, and I think especially would be something that's important when it is about functions and stuff, and why certain parameters are doing certain things and whatnot. Even though I don't know, when it is all about learning, then for me at least, I have to be, I think, able to use it. And if I'm not able to use it, then it's kind of just, I don't give a shit then. When it, for example, is about designing something or just also programming something, I can try it out. I can use this and that and see if it is working. And if it is not working, then I'm not going to use it again in this exact moment, which I think is also one of the reasons why I think mathematics is a relatively good subject to learn and do something with. Because you can try out things and you can see whether something is working or not, or whether you should be doing something or not. And yeah, this is what I think about it. I don't know what I should think about the book. I really believe that the book per se is actually pretty good, but and there might also be a lot of things that you will be interested in. I gotta have to say that I've been focusing a lot on reading it well and just just presenting it in a well way, rather than just actually knowing what I read, which might be not that of a good thing, since I wanted to go through it because I was interested in it. But yeah, I really hope that you've gotten something out of it, kind of. So I'm also gonna end the episode there, so I'm not gonna stretch it out unnecessarily. So I'm actually gonna talk because it's loading once again, so I don't know when I'm gonna be able to just do something. But question of the day actually is, if there is something that did you do in terms of learning shit that really is helping you, and yeah. This is the question of today. Even if it might be a little bit of a shitty question, even if it might be like not that good, it's still the question of today. And yeah, with that being said, I wish you the best health, of happiness, and also success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself and you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy, and basically means just being a nice person and then being remembered as a nice person as well. And yeah, with that being said, 3 other questions that I'm having for you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? And these 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea. Yes, I would say so. And I actually am really grateful that the channel is actually doing relatively well at this point in time, and it really makes me happy to see that things are working, that at least some things are working, and yeah, it really makes me happy. And I'm also really grateful for every single fucking person that clicked on one video, watched a little bit of it, and I'm even the most grateful for the fact that I might have been able to just give somebody something that contributed something to their life. I think this is an amazing thing, and I really actually indeed hope that I'm able to do that, because I don't know. There's not a lot of feedback that I get. There's not a lot of just return of things that I get. I'm actually just putting out something and try to do it in the best way I kind of can, and whether it is actually how I'm doing it or not. And yeah, the next episode that I'm gonna record, I'm actually gonna, it sounds really funny, and it's, should I actually say it, because I might even also not be doing it, but I think about playing a game, and I think about playing Minecraft while I talk about something, because I thought about it really often that I can just play something in the background and talk about something. So I'm gonna first of all write down what I want to talk about and then talk about it. But then there's something in the background, and there's also something for me to focus on as well, I guess. Because if I'm sitting there and if I'm talking about something, then it may or may not be like the most interesting thing that I can do. I don't know if Minecraft is the best thing to do, or if it is like connotated in a very specific way where I gotta have to say like, I don't know, maybe it's gonna just break the whole episode. And yeah, but I'm gonna try it out. Maybe it is actually fun. Maybe it is actually also working quite well. Maybe I'm actually just getting some of this community into being interested in just self-development, in just seeking for something great, maybe, if you want to. But yeah, I'm gonna end the episode there. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, and I'm hopefully gonna see you the next time. So, bye-bye.